Nobody has told you this yet, but today, NVIDIA is roughly a $4.3 trillion giant. And in a single quarter, it posted $57 billion in revenue. But NVIDIA didn't start as a giant. It started as a mistake that almost killed the company. And if the next chip failed, that was it. Game over. So how did a near-dead graphics startup end up powering the AI era? It begins in the early 1990s, back when graphics sounded like a toy. Games, pixels, eye candy. Everyone was chasing faster CPUs. But three engineers saw a different future. Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, Curtis Preem. No fancy office, just a small meeting and a big belief. Images are math, and math can be parallel. If you could build a chip that does thousands of tiny calculations at once, you wouldn't just draw better worlds, you'd build a new kind of computer. Sounds obvious now, but then it sounded risky, expensive, almost arrogant. Because in semiconductors, you don't get infinite retries. Your first product has to land, or you vanish. And NVIDIA's first swing didn't just miss, it nearly ended the story. Their first chip was called NV1, and it tried to be everything. Not just 3D, but 2D, video, audio, a Swiss Army knife of features. On paper, brilliant. In real life, confusing. Hard to build for, hard to sell, hard to support. And the worst part? The industry picked a direction, a standard, a path, and NVIDIA had built for a different one. So developers didn't rally, the market didn't wait, and partners got nervous. Money started bleeding out, fast. Imagine the pressure. You're not down. You're down in a business where failure costs a year you don't have. Every meeting feels heavier. Every phone call sounds colder. And then comes the silent fear. What if we're just wrong? Here's what people don't understand. A startup can survive bad marketing, bad PR, even a bad quarter. But a bad chip can delete your future. So Jensen made a decision that most founders refuse to make. He cut ego, he cut complexity, he cut the dream version, and rebuilt a focused version. No more everything, just what wins. But even that wasn't enough, because the clock was still ticking. This is the ugly part of the story. The part that doesn't look cinematic, the all-nighters, the arguments, the panic behind calm faces. Because when you're a chip company, time moves in blocks, and if you miss one block, you don't get a second chance. You get a funeral. That's when Jensen became obsessed with speed. Not reckless speed, survival speed. Fast decisions, fast learning, fast truth. If something's wrong, say it early, fix it early, move. Because in this game, slow is lethal. And then, finally, NVIDIA ships a chip that gives them oxygen. 1997, Riva 128. Not perfect, but focused, competitive, real. And suddenly, they're back in the conversation. Partners return, confidence returns, momentum returns. But Jensen doesn't celebrate because he knows the truth. Surviving isn't winning. Surviving is permission to take the next shot. And NVIDIA's next shot was going to be more than a product. It was going to be a story, a new identity. Because NVIDIA didn't want to be a graphics company. They wanted to be the company that redefined computing. So in 1999, they drop a name that changes everything. GeForce 256. And they introduce a new word, GPU, Graphics Processing Unit. Not a graphics card, not an accessory, not a side piece, a processor. They're basically saying, this isn't decoration, this is computation. And that one word does something powerful. It upgrades how people see them, because words shape markets, and markets shape money. Gaming explodes. But NVIDIA sees something deeper. Gaming isn't the finish line. Gaming is training. Because games force the same thing AI will later demand. Parallel work, massive throughput, relentless iteration. Then comes another turning point. NVIDIA gets pulled into the biggest stage, consoles. The original Xbox uses an NVIDIA-designed GPU. That means scale, pressure, deadlines, real-world production. And it also means something else. NVIDIA is learning how to ship performance to millions of people. But even while gaming is booming, Jensen is building the real weapon. Not hardware, software. Because hardware without developers is just expensive metal. So NVIDIA starts a bet that looks insane at the time. They ask, what if we let people program the GPU for work that has nothing to do with graphics? Not dragons, not explosions, not pixels, science, simulation, engineering, data. That bet becomes CUDA. And at first, most people shrug, because who programs a graphics chip to do serious computing? But NVIDIA keeps going, because Jensen understands something. You don't win the future by chasing the present. You win by building a platform. And platforms don't look exciting until the world needs them. Then the world changes, quietly at first. Researchers start training neural networks, bigger models, more data, more repetition, and they hit a wall. CPUs are too slow for this kind of workload. They need parallelism. They need GPUs. Then comes the moment that flips the table. 2012, a deep learning breakthrough hits, and GPUs are right in the center of it. Suddenly, the GPU isn't for gaming, it's for intelligence. And NVIDIA isn't scrambling to catch up, because they built the engine years earlier when nobody cared. That's the part that should scare you. The world calls it overnight, but NVIDIA knows the truth. It was a decade of planting seeds. Now fast forward to today. AI stops being a lab experiment. It becomes a gold rush. Companies don't just want software. They want compute. They want data centers. They want training. They want inference. They want speed. And NVIDIA becomes the company selling the most valuable shovels on Earth. But here's the real twist. NVIDIA isn't just selling chips. They're selling an ecosystem. Hardware, software, tools, libraries, developers, a full stack. So even if a competitor builds a strong chip, they still have to fight the platform. They still have to fight the momentum, and momentum is expensive to beat. That's how you go from almost dead to almost everywhere. And that's why the numbers sound unreal. A company that nearly died early is now measured in trillions. So what's the lesson? It's not never fail. NVIDIA failed hard. The lesson is fail fast, learn faster, and keep the courage to rebuild. A bad chip, then a focused one. A risky platform, then patient adoption. And a founder who understood, in deep tech, speed matters, but endurance decides who gets remembered. Because sometimes, the world only rewards you after it laughs at you first.